Somebody get me some coffee. All right, here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
I don't think so. Homie, don't play that.
Yo, 7 Deuce, what up, bro? Why you always lagging? You're so slow. Dude, come on, I just wanna ride.
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Legrand, Evan Price, Lance Hapler, and Jake Von During. Enjoy episode 105, but be warned, may cause drowsiness.
All I wanna do is ride my bike my whole life. All I wanna do is ride my bike my whole life.
Since ancient times, people everywhere have been caught up in all kinds of trends and traditions.
All I wanna do is ride my bike my whole life. Never thought twice.
One trend that I despise is the trend of stupidity.
Oh, I love my bike and I've been right.
It's very stupid to act stupid when you're not stupid. So that must mean that everyone is stupid for acting stupid when they know they're smarter than that.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von During, and today I'm here with Lance Hapler.
Lance Romance in studio.
In studio.
Not for long, though.
No.
You gotta get
For hours.
You're itching to get back out on the road.
It's time to get out.
Get in car. Head south. Across the table from him, Matt Legrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys are looking good. As always, you look good.
Not as good as you.
I was just gonna say I might be looking a little rough this morning.
You don't look rough this morning.
I usually do.
You're looking beautiful, Matt.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Filling in for today for Mr. Evan Price, who's working like a stiff. Zeke is where are you at, Zeke?
Zeke, hey puppy. You got a bark for us?
Not gonna bark.
Zeke's heading in with this. Oh, he's licking my hand right now.
Oh, he's up on my lap.
Good dog, Zekers.
Yeah. All right. So this episode will be coming out, and we're going to be where, Lance?
We will be in Southern California. In the San Diego, Orange County area. That doesn't sound right. In between San Diego and Orange County.
Somewhere down there.
Yeah, somewhere down.
And Matt will be up here holding down the fort, right?
Yeah, someone's got to stay home and manage all of this.
So yeah, we're recording this a couple days early.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're going to do a live thing from training camp this year, but we might get some sound bites out of it. But we'll come back and give you guys a full breakdown and maybe a few bits of sound bites here and there, just kind of talking to everybody. But this week we are going to skip our lead out news, and we're just going to have not a backpedal, just a quick general discussion, because Lance has been. Like he showed up today. Something went down, and I have a sneaking suspicion there's a story in there somewhere.
Okay, so I spent a good part of the day yesterday prepping my van to go to team camp, packing it with stuff, making sure I have all this extra gear.
EPO, lots of steroids,
the EPO and testosterone. Just filled that van.
Vials,
just vials and vials.
You open up the door and just like needles fall out.
Needles and vials. So no big deal, but we got it all prepped. I got it all packed. I got it all ready. I went for a ride and went actually really hard yesterday. And
yeah, I saw a couple crowns on there, didn't I? Or a crown and a cup.
I had like 10 top 10s yesterday.
Wow.
on some big segments that have like 3,000 or 4,000 people. So it was some efforts, and it just felt good, and it was a little windy, so that always helps.
Yeah, Mother Nature's out there for everybody.
The crowns that I were actually going for, I actually only missed them by a few seconds to the one and only Jake Von During.
I was going to say I didn't get any emails yesterday.
So
which segment might that be?
It was on MacArthur westbound.
Okay, gotcha. Is that the long one?
It's the long one. Yeah.
Did you need wind on your back for that?
Yeah.
Did you have a little help?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like a 12 or 13 mile an hour wind.
Are there stop signs in that one?
Uh-huh.
There's one stop sign on that one.
You just got to have traffic.
No, there's two.
You have
There's
traffic
two stop signs. Yeah, you just
have to have traffic.
I slow down and stop pedaling and watch the angles, and I almost came to a complete stop at one. So I think I might have gotten it if there had been less traffic, but there wasn't. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. Was the ride. Went to bed last night, actually feeling pretty good. And about 12:30 a.m., we hear this big thud, And Piper, who sleeps in the bed with Brandy and I, she sat up like at attention, and we thought, what? That's weird. Look out the back window, and yes, another car drove through into my yard last night.
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of the night.
You know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say someone was breaking into your van
That's
and
where-
stealing your stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody breaking into the van.
I was like, oh my gosh, that would be bad.
Yeah, that would have been bad. No, we live in a spot where there's an off ramp from Highway 14 that comes to a stop sign, and if you blow through the stop sign, you'll end up in my backyard.
Yeah. Oh no. Now
So-
that's a pretty. Isn't that a
pretty
little bit of a
big
drop
drop.
there?
Yeah.
It is a big drop.
So I mean, did that Dukes of Hazzard? Did you hear
Correct.
that horn go off first?
Yes, that's right. So
Were
this
you
guy
like,
caught some air.
Bo Duke, those Dukes brothers?
No, it was like, gosh dang it, Brandy, there's another car in the backyard.
Ba-da-bum-bum-bum, ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum.
So we run out there. Usually it's a drunk driver.
Yeah.
You know, it's usually somebody that they take my exit thinking it's the next exit, because the next exit goes to 205. And so they took my exit, and it's like full gas, 60-mile-an-hour exit, and all of a sudden there's a stop sign. But this was a guy that looks like he either fell asleep at the wheel or was just cruising.
Yikes.
So, yeah.
You know what I love about that is the word usually.
Usually.
This implies this has happened many times.
I've lived in this home for 20 years, 22 years or something like that. This is the 5th time.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
Yeah.
So you don't think the guy was drunk?
I don't think he was drunk.
Did you pull him out of his car?
I did not, because all his airbags went off.
Yeah.
He went through my fence. The fence was wrapped around the front of his Ford Mustang, his newish Ford
Ooh.
Mustang. So he was actually trapped in the car by the fence, because the fence had stretched out around the front, and he took out one of my trees. So I lost a tree last night and a whole 30-foot section of fence. And I got his door pried open enough, and all the airbags had gone off.
Yeah, it has that stink to it.
Yes, it smells like smoke.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm picturing you in whitey tighties with a baseball bat. with the baseball bat. Get out of my yard, kind of thing. Is that kind of how it went?
Close. I'm like, don't move, and I'm immediately smelling, because this has happened to me before, where the person's drunk and they're trying to leave the scene. They're trying to get out because they know that they're in trouble. That wasn't this guy.
Did you call 911 before you came out there?
No, I'm like, Brandy, you call 911. I'm going out there before he takes off.
Oh my gosh. With my whitey tighties and my baseball bat.
Stand down.
This guy is not getting away
He's
this
not
time.
getting away this
You
time.
Duke brothers.
He was pretty trapped. So, no,
Did you guys call Cletus to come pull him out?
Yes. So 911 got people there actually pretty quickly, within 5 or 6 minutes.
They probably come straight from the hospital, straight down. I mean, you're not far away from everything.
We're not that far away from everything.
Was he injured?
He was complaining of his back.
Sure.
So he had caught air off the thing, pummeled into the right in front of my fence, and then blew through a tree. So he didn't physically look injured, but he was
got jarred up.
Sure. He got messed up, and his back was hurting a little bit, and we literally couldn't get him out. And the first thing I did is make sure, okay, is anything on fire? Do I smell leaking gas? And
Right.
I didn't. And so it was an emergency for me to get him out, and I'm like, okay, do not move, stay right
Sure.
there. You need to stay safe. And yeah.
So he wasn't drinking, but was he impaired in other ways?
He might have fallen asleep.
That's kind of tough to negotiate that off ramp and be asleep.
Yeah, he might have been drowsy and thought he was on the next off ramp, so the stop sign surprises you.
Yeah.
Did they do any check breathalyzer
Yeah,
or
no breathalyzer, but
take a little blood or something to see because he could have had other chemicals besides alcohol, right? I
Well-
mean, it's there's so many people on.
The firemen had to saw cut through the fence to get that out of the way, and they had to fully neck brace and everything to get him out of the car. And
Ambulance?
ambulance was there, fire truck, and 9 cop cars.
my gosh.
Did he leave in an ambulance?
He left in an ambulance.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they'll take him to the hospital.
So they'll take him to the hospital. Yeah.
Please tell me he had insurance.
He did have insurance.
Thank God.
Yes.
But it is a little bit your fault for having your house there.
I shouldn't have had my house there.
That tree was taunting him. I feel like that tree was taunting him, and the tree jumped out at his car.
We planted those trees to keep cars out, so the tree did its job.
Good job, tree.
Good job.
You need something a little bit more sturdy.
Yeah.
Redwood or something.
What kind of fence was it that wrapped around your car? I can't.
It's a cyclone fence. It's just like on that part of the house. There's a cyclone fence. I have a nicer fence in the front yard, but
What's a cyclone fence?
just a chain link fence.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to have to buy this thing 10 times over, so I'm not going to
It actually
spend too much money on it.
because I live right on there. That's actually the state's fence. So
Oh, okay.
the state will
Right,
actually come
that
out and
makes
fix it. Yeah.
Now, is that going to be a problem with you being gone and Piper being home and being able to get out?
That's the issue. I'm going to have to rig something today so that Piper will stay in the yard, although she won't really leave the yard now. She's
Just don't want to chance it, though.
But we need to shore it up before I get on the road today.
Can Piper not go to training camp?
We ultimately decided not to take Piper to training camp. We would love to have her, but the house we're staying in is actually a no pets house.
Yeah.
And even though Piper is a good enough dog that you actually can't tell an animal's been there when we have Piper in a home, but the people who rented the house, I do not want to make them nervous all week long that, occasionally we have the dog inside the house.
Yeah.
And so plus it complicates things a little bit with what we're trying to do. So we just ultimately decided we were going to leave her home.
Okay.
So it's been a bummer. Anyway, that's the big story. Another car through the fence.
Jeez.
And one of the cops, he's like, I think I was here 3 years ago. Are you the same homeowner? I'm like, yep, I'm the same homeowner. That court case is actually still not resolved because she was drunk.
Oh, no. Seriously?
Yes.
So does it take a long time for them to actually pay for all this stuff, or is it, do you have to have a lawyer get involved on your side?
I haven't yet. Actually, the last one, there really was no damage to my house, believe it or not, because she
cleared the fence.
cleared the fence.
No, seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
She actually hit the ground and the car flipped over the fence and landed.
That's true Dukes of Hazzard style.
Yeah, true Dukes of Hazzard style.
Wow.
So she messed up some, bushes. So there really wasn't any damage. And she did try to flee the scene.
So Roscoe P. Coltrane
Yes.
was there 3 years ago too, huh?
She tried to flee the scene, but she was fenced in.
But she was fenced in. That's right.
She gets her underwear caught on the
And
fence trying to climb over.
Oh.
And she was injured and head injury.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway. So
Cool. How was your night, Matt?
We were Zwifting while you were gallivanting along around in your underwear, Lance.
I'm running through the yard in my boots and the underwear.
I felt like I got to ride with Jake last night.
We did, yeah.
That was super nice. We did our team Zwift ride, and I tried to draft behind Jake as long as possible. It was awesome. It was fun. Fun little group activity.
I came by you one time and I wasn't paying attention. I looked, that was Matt, and I slowed up just a little bit. I don't know if you picked up on that, and you jumped right on my wheel.
Get
and
on
we
there,
started
hang
trucking.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We were together for a few laps.
The last 2 laps I couldn't hang with you. I hung with you for second to last lap, I think, for as long as I could.
Yeah.
And you pulled me through a fast lap, and then the last lap I couldn't hang with you.
Yeah, we tried something a little bit different last night. We did the hilly route on Zwift Watopia, and it's about 6 miles, I think.
It's short.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's a 6 mile loop, and it's got 3 different segments in it. So it's got a KOM Jersey climb, which is about, depending upon who you are, 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
2 minutes, 30 seconds for me.
I don't think I've ever done it under 2 minutes.
That was me going hard.
No, I don't think you can do it under 2:30. I think that, Tonk, I think.
Went 149?
Was it? No, it wasn't Tonk. It was Jordan. And then who chased him up the hill?
It was Tonk and Jordan, I think, that had the fastest times.
Yeah. But anyway, it was
wicked
fast.
150-ish. I don't remember exactly the numbers, but they're fast.
That's a solid effort.
Yeah.
Trying to go super hard.
Then there's a sprint section in there, and then there's the full course of the full loop.
The full loop, yeah.
For the Jersey for that.
Which Hannell snagged, I think.
He did. He ultimately ended up
by
getting
himself.
that.
Just went off the front.
And Alan Plank got the sprint jersey. I told him I was going to lead him out, then I kind of went for it, and he still came around me anyway. So I'm just going to say I let him out.
He's got some wheels.
That's hard to do on Zwift because you're not.
You still get a little bit of an advantage, but I personally, I started just a touch too soon, and then I think he was using that little arrow boost thing.
Yeah.
But I still went back and looked, and he still put down a couple more watts than I did. So, anyways, less than I do and all that good stuff. So
Plank's got some get up and go, man.
He's got some
yeah.
power, man.
And he beat me by like 2 or 3 hundredths of a second. So and we were right there. But the thing was, it was good. We wanted either one of us to win that because the whole thing is like, all right, there's 3 jerseys on here. We had the whole team of people that showed up.
Yeah.
We turned off the meetup, and it was basically, right, we're going to break everything up into 3 groups, and each group is going to have, anywhere from, 3, 4, 5 people or whatever it ended up being. And those groups had to go out and try and get the most jerseys, and whichever group got the most jerseys won. So in the first lap, when we it could change over the course of, because we did 5 laps.
Yeah.
And it could change. Like you could get a jersey and it's like whatever you finished with. But if you lost a jersey, then you have to go back and try and battle for it again.
Right.
So in the first lap, we had Jordan on our team. He quickly got that climb KOM, and then he got the full lap one. And then Alan and I, in that first lap too, we took down the sprint jersey. So we had all 3, but you have to hold on to them for the entire race.
Right.
Tonk came and took the KOM from Jordan and on a solid effort. And I think Jordan took another stab at it, but I think he was kind of a little bit gassed. Plus, he's tapering like everybody else right now, so he didn't want to try for a 3rd time.
Right.
And then Alan ended up holding on to the sprint jersey for the whole night. And then Handel came back and took the lap from Jordan. And he put down a wicked fast time on that too, didn't he? It was like 12 minutes and change, like 12:30 or something like that. That is fast on that. That hurt. So, but anyway, that was fun. Good workout.
What was that word you used? Taper? I'm not familiar.
It's a
topper.
No one knows what it means.
I'm not sure what that means.
No one knows.
So, anyway, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do a longer backpedal next week. Well, yes, because that'll be after the training camp, so we can do like some recap stuff.
Cool.
And Evan and I will just look into each other's eyes and ignore it all.
How about we jump into our topic for today? A couple little things that popped up that I keep seeing because it's 2020, and a lot of it has to do with trends. So I just wanted to get our take on some of the current cycling trends. There's a couple different articles I shared with the guys, and there's a bunch of different things. So I just want to get everybody's take on it. Lance, do you want to get us started on your first thing and what your take is?
My first thing is the trend of road tubeless.
Yeah.
Of road tubeless tires. How it's kind of
You
gone
guys have
mainstream.
all raved about it. I haven't made the switch.
That was a light switch for me. I was completely against them probably just over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I told everybody no way because everybody I knew that had them always had issues with them, and it's just the way that they seated up on the tires. It's like the wheels were ready for them, but the tires weren't ready. And like it seems like the two technologies have kind of come together, and they're just like peanut butter and jelly now. It's just a thing of beauty.
I have a pair of head wheels, the Vanquish 4s, that are tubeless compatible.
Yep.
And I switched to road tubeless, I don't know, what was it? 8 months ago or something like that, or 12 months ago.
It was whenever the Continental GP 5000 tubeless came out, so it's been almost a year.
Yeah, so it would have been a year.
About a year ago.
Shortly after that. I initially had some trouble getting them to seal, and then since then, guess how many flats I've had? And I've put in 10,000 miles or 8,000 miles?
1.
0.
You know, that's the thing. I think
0 flats.
There's someone on our team, and they like keep track of it on their
David Goodman.
David Goodman, yeah. He like keeps track. It's like every
74
Strava.
rides,
It's like
no
number
flats.
number 77, like with no flats. You know, and so it's kind of
Here was
a
the
little bit
kicker
telling.
for me. Last week when I was riding in Arizona,
yeah.
I was alone. I was doing a 60-mile ride or something by myself. I'm about 10 miles from home, and I picked up a goat head in my front tire. And I was just riding along, and all of a sudden I could hear the thump, 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 you know, and I'm like, what is that? And I reach down as I'm riding, and with my hand, and I can, it hits my hand, and I think, oh, okay, something's stuck in my wheel.
You have gloves on, or you
I
just
had
slice your hand
gloves
open?
on, and it didn't cut me open, thankfully. But I rode till I left it in there because it was holding air.
Yeah.
And I rode till about 3 miles from home, or where we were parked.
Was this because you were like, I know I can walk from here?
Yes, it was okay. I'm not going to pull it out yet. I came to a stoplight. I thought, okay, I'm going to pull this out. Pulled it out. It sealed immediately.
Wow.
I lost 5 pounds of air pressure.
That's crazy.
It was, and I rode all the way home. And the next day when I woke up, okay, I'm like, I got to look at that tire. No, hadn't lost any more air. It just worked.
Wow.
So I'm like sold on road tubeless just because of the lack of flats.
I haven't ridden near as much as you outside for stupid obvious reasons, but I've still put in a couple thousand miles, zero flats.
Zero flats.
Yeah.
What do you carry with you now in case of the situation where it's you don't like just go without anything?
No,
right?
I carry 2 CO2s and 1 tube with me.
And a boot.
Yeah,
for me.
and a boot. Yeah.
Yep.
I think I've got a boot in there too. Yeah. So that's
You're not
that's
so
all I take.
confident that you're like, screw that, I don't need anything.
No.
Yeah. That would be dumb.
Yeah. But I have forgotten to take my flat kit before. Like if I jump on my gravel bike and I forget to
Switch everything over.
And still have had no issues. So, yeah, I'm like sold on road tubeless. It has been the only issue with road tubeless is flying with your bike, and it's kind of controversial to fly with your bike, whether you deflate your tires or not. So it kind of depends on the bike case you have. You don't really need to deflate your tires that much. You could take them down to
Right. I think that's what a lot of people
50
do.
or
is take
60 psi.
Yeah.
But like my hard-sided travel case, there's 2 like slots for the wheels to fit in,
Yeah.
and they won't actually go in unless I deflate the tires
Right.
enough
tight.
that they'll kind of fit in there because they're held in by skewers, and the skewers aren't long enough without getting him all the way in. So there's a little bit of nerve-wracking worry that I'm going to get to the new place, I'm going to go to pump up my tires, the seal has been broken, and I can't get them to reseal with just a regular floor pump.
Gotcha.
So that's like...
So are you like trying to thread the needle, like just deflate it just enough that you can
Yes.
fit it in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think is that, like 40, 30 PSI?
I got to take mine to like 10.
Okay. You're trying to keep a little pressure in there.
I'm trying to just keep the seal from breaking, you know?
So when your bike is in the air, is there more pressure or less pressure? I would expect less pressure when it's being flown.
So baggage compartments are pressurized to
that's right.
8,000 feet. So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay.
You're flying at
You're
30,000.
flying at 30,000. The baggage compartments are because animals ride in there. And,
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
yeah. So they keep the baggage
That's where
compartments
that's where I put my
pressurized.
kids usually.
The kids.
Cheaper.
Baggage
Yeah.
compartment.
Check luggage, baby. That's so. Our team is very heavy on using the Continental GP 5000. Do you have any other brands of tire that you would recommend?
I've never tried another one, so I don't know.
I know some people use the Schwabes that have had good luck there. I can't think of any others off the top of my head.
They're reviewed very well too. The Schwabes are reviewed very well. But
Yeah.
The GP 5000s have such great reviews that I've just
Yeah, they're
stuck with them.
damn near bulletproof.
Yeah.
They roll really well. The tread on them wears really well as well.
Yes.
I mean, they're an expensive tire. I think the MSRP for the tubeless version of a 25 or a 28 is about $100.
Yeah.
That's the MSRP. Now you can find them all over the place for less money, and our team gets a pretty good deal on them as well. But that's still pretty expensive for a tire. I mean,
Right.
you could almost go out and buy a car tire for $100 for
Right.
some certain cars, but you're getting good life out of them. So I think when you start to add up all of the flats that you don't get, and each time you get a flat, your tube is going to cost you anywhere from $5 to $7.
Yeah.
And how many flats do you think you get in a year? At least 10.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll say it's.
If you're riding, 5,000 miles or
Yeah.
more, you get some flats.
So you're saving $50 to $70 a year just in tubes.
Yes.
So the tire's almost paying for itself.
not getting flats. I know.
Yeah, and it's worth the time expense of pulling over, changing everything out.
I just put a brand new
Back on the
tire
road.
on, and I didn't quite need to, but I broke a spoke last week, and Jake and I had a little bit of difficulty finding a replacement spoke, and we got it worked out.
Yeah, whoever came in and stole all my spokes.
Jake lost all his
I'm coming
spokes.
after
They
you.
disappeared. But in the process of replacing that spoke, we took the tire off, and I just, this is time to replace it.
You know what? Too, for the cost of riding tubed, there's the cost of the CO2 as well, which most people use, and those are usually what, $2 or $3,
They're like $2.50 a piece,
something like that. So yeah, you're saving a good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Good, Matt. What's it going to take for us to get you to convert over to the tubeless side of things?
Well, I think it'll just depend on, the bike and the wheels that I have on those bike, that particular bike. So
Sure.
we talked about this before. I'm in the market for a TT bike. So it depends on which wheels we put on that bike.
Sure.
So that's something that you and I will probably have to talk about.
Yeah.
And most likely that'll be tubeless, I'm guessing.
This brings up a point. Most of the time racing, people race on, or they used to race on tubular tires.
Yeah.
Because it had the best rolling resistance.
Right.
But I cannot see a good enough reason to continue to race on tubular tires. It seems like it's so much better to switch to tubeless, where your potential for flats just goes way down. You just have to have a race tire that is tubeless compatible and has the right rolling resistance. But oh my gosh, just so
For the road, yeah, not for cross though, right? You're all about that tubular.
yes. Cross is a little bit different just because of the side pressure and the potential to burp a tire off the rim.
It's like a constant threat for you guys.
Yes, because you're just taking hard corners. Yeah. And that's not so much concern.
That's a good one. Road. So our take, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Good deal.
Road tubeless.
Cool. Matt, how about you? What do you got?
Oh, I put a couple of notes down here. One thing that I thought was definitely going to be a continuing trend in our sport is gamification of programs like Zwift.
Yeah.
Prize purses.
Yep.
I think are going to continue to rise. I think people are going to kind of get into it. There was some interesting controversy, which I thought brought light on the sport of, let's call it, I don't know, e-sport bike racing. I don't know what you want to call it.
They call it e-racing.
E-racing.
Yep.
I don't like that
I
much.
know, that's what they call it.
But, I mean, we definitely have seen kids get into watching people play games. Like, that's a sport now. It's probably more popular than, like, any of our sports that combine. It's definitely more popular than triathlon.
Some of the most popular YouTube channels are
people watching people play sports.
That's my son loves watching those games. I'm like, dude, what are you doing with your time watching other people play video games? I mean, it's one thing for you to be playing video games, but for you to be watching somebody else playing a video game that's been recorded. Come on now.
And it's very hard as a parent to see that. At the same time, I think this is like a legit sports thing. Like, I think that this is the future in some ways. People watching other people play video games.
Yeah.
And like when you see a stadium packed with people watching other people play video games, it feels very much like a sporting event. It's crazy.
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
And so, remember, I think we did talk about this on the podcast. The guy that won, whatever it was, like the Zwift World Championship, he had gotten the bike, the Tron bike, illegally using a machine, thing to help him get the bike. And so
he used a bot to get enough elevation gain
to get the Tron bike, and that disqualified him from winning the whole thing. Super interesting. I mean, I don't necessarily fully agree with that decision, but whatever. I think it's like a little bit of intrigue helps the sport,
right?
If we're calling it a sport, I think that is going to take off. I think more and more people are going to race on Zwift, and more programs are going to be established. There's another company that's like a Zwift competitor, and I think it's called Rovi, where you're riding real courses some of the time. I think they have about 3,000 different videos where you can kind of looks like you're really riding
clips.
Yeah, so they're videos. They are, someone either takes a car or whatever, a camera, and they go drive up Alpe d'Huez. And then the avatar is superimposed on that particular video clip. So it doesn't look like Zwift, where you've got like a tree that's basically,
like a cartoon almost.
Cartoonish.
Like cartoon
right?
video
It looks
game,
like you're in a video game. Whereas this is like, it looks like you're in the real spot. So I think that there are other gaming platforms. So for example, Rovi is offering, I think, $20,000 on their competitive, This is again this whole like competitive. What are we calling it? E-racing? Their platform is offering up money as well.
Yeah.
This is going to be a thing, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a trend in 2020 for sure.
Yep. I think we need to elect you to be the governor to make sure that all of their coding is up to date and current, because there are variances there.
There's ways to hack it for sure.
Yeah.
And
you can weight dope.
You can weight dope.
You can like set your weight like super low so that your watts per kilo go up.
Yeah.
What are other ways you can hack it?
The way I would do it would be, like when I was racing Jake last night, just kind of, you could take your power numbers and I would just double them. And so they look real, right? So it's like, instead of holding 215, I'd be, at 430, for example. And when that shifts, it would just be doubled. So it would look like it was varying about, a good about, like you hit a hill.
You can write code to do that or something?
Yeah, you could write code to do that. And it wouldn't be very hard, right? Because take in X times 2, spit out that number and send that over to Zwift, right? Like take in the trainer powered information. So it's kind of like, think of it, I wouldn't really call it a man in the middle attack, but it's like, think of it that way, where like there's a device in the middle taking in the data and spitting out the data, but it's been adjusted.
I see.
That's the way I would do it.
Wow.
If you could build that, I bet you, Buck, you could solve
I could
quite
solve
a few of those.
Yeah. I feel like that would be wrong.
I think that's cheating.
Yes. I feel like that would be wrong.
Well, like some of the bigger e-races, you actually have to like record a weight, or you have to go to a site where you're all racing together and you have to weigh in.
Yeah. And then there's other ways that they combat some of these issues as well. Like a lot of times if you race a fair amount on Zwift and you get kind of flagged as like, this doesn't look right, they'll compare it to your road racing events, and they can be like, yeah, you finished dead last in Cat 5,
right?
And
so
here you are winning Cat 2 races or whatever it is, and so people will flag that stuff, and there is a group of people that look into it. I don't know. I feel like I'm not the best person to talk to this. I'm not that good at racing indoors. I'm not that good at riding indoors. Surprisingly, it's
different.
I'm just not good at it.
It's a different kind of effort. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But it is definitely growing.
It's just huge.
Yes.
It's definitely trending. It has been trending, and I expect that to continue for sure.
Yeah. I enjoy it to a certain degree. I think it's very functional. So.
I enjoy it when we have stuff like last night.
Yeah.
Usually if it's like, Matt, go hop on the trainer this afternoon, I'm like, ugh.
Right. Right.
All right, here's one for you. Wearables. There's a big spiking trend in wearables, from Whoop straps to smartwatches to different kinds of heart rate monitors and to sunglasses that are smart.
When Jake said that, Lance held up either wrist, like Whoop strap on this one, heart rate monitor on this one, like he had all the things.
We as cyclists and triathletes love our data.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to actually kind of dive into that. And I think it's pushing us more in the direction of just, better overall rest and recovery, which is good for us down in the long run. From a health perspective, it's good for us, but it's also good for us from a training perspective. So, Lance, you're still using the Whoop strap. You've been using it for how long now?
It's been a year.
Okay.
It's been 12 months.
And is it something that you're going to renew your membership on?
If you'd asked me 9 months ago, I would have said no, but now it's like I'm used to wearing the dumb thing.
Yeah.
And I love the data it gives me.
Okay.
I love the data that it gives me. So
does that help guide your patterns? Because you don't want to wake up and see bad numbers because you know how it's going to affect you.
It does a little bit.
Yeah.
The thing that it guides most for me is trying to get enough sleep. And I see how much your sleep numbers affect your recovery rates.
Yeah. So what time did you get to bed last night after Dukes Hazzard jumped in the backyard?
I've been averaging almost 8 hours of sleep a night for the last 4 months, and I got like 3.5 hours last night.
Oh, gosh. And you're going to get in the car and drive all day today?
Probably. After I fix the fence.
Oh, jeez. Be careful, my friend.
Just take extra time.
We might leave tomorrow.
It doesn't even matter if you could be a whole day late to training camp. It wouldn't even matter. No one.
Probably.
That would sacrifice your green socks.
So, for instance, like you had a really strong training day yesterday.
Yeah.
You went out there, put in some good efforts. You were up really late last night. What did your whoop strap tell you this morning?
So yesterday, I took Monday off completely because I was trying to fix the spoke with Jake, and we recorded the podcast. And when I woke up Tuesday morning, I had like a 96 recovery, just awesome recovery, which was why when the ride came around, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for it. I've got this certain workout to do, and I'm going to make some efforts here. And it was great. Last night, my legs feel great. My body feels good. Everything feels good. But my recovery this morning was like 48%. It was half of the day before, mostly because I got 3.5 hours of sleep last night instead of 8.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how much that stuff kind of
affects your performance.
Yeah.
Matt, you're pretty keen on the whole Garmin line of things, and you know your Garmin stuff pretty well. They have a function, and I know that you wear the 945. It's called the body battery. Do you use that?
No,
not at all.
I don't. You know, I love having all the data on all these things. I don't dive into it that much. So body battery is like this. It's kind of looking at how rested you are, how much activity you've done in a day. And it kind of, after you've slept a decent amount, it will say your body battery is at 99% or whatever it is. You know, and you as you go through the day and you do different activities, whether that's, swimming or running, definitely not biking, you guys, definitely. But like all these little things take away from your body battery. And so it's interesting to kind of look at that and see like, okay, well, I did bike and I was going to go for a run, but my body battery is low. Should I rest and move that workout to tomorrow or whatever it is?
Yeah.
I don't ever look at it and be like, I'm not going to do something because of my body battery. I don't know how. My gut feeling is it's not super accurate, but.
Yeah, it's not super accurate, but I use it kind of just to monitor sleep more than anything. And I can go look at my sleeping habits as well. And even that's not always 100% spot on. I'll know that, usually at nighttime after we get our kids to bed and the day's kind of done, we'll sit on the couch for like an hour, like from 9 to 10 o'clock before we go to bed. Yeah. And usually when I go to bed too, if I'm not tired yet, I'll do some reading and try and, just kind of rest as well. But it will show that I was actually asleep during those times just because you're not moving, your heart rate is low and it thinks that you're catching some Z's. So I'll have to go in there and alter that. But for the most part, it's pretty close. I'll use the body battery and I'll use the sleeping stuff to motivate myself to try and get more sleep because I know how much that affects my recovery. So it's kind of nice to track it from that perspective, but I don't think it's quite giving me the same bit of information as your Whoop strap.
I do love the sleep tracking part of the watch. Which is slightly different.
Is Body Battery a separate app, or is it something you find in the Garmin Connect?
Built into the operating system.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have a Garmin Fenix 5.
This won't be in there. It's new to Garmin. It's new to the 945 in the Fenix 6.
And the Fenix 6.
Yeah. You got to update, man.
Well, I've got the Fenix 5 because somebody.
Fenix 5 is a good one.
Somebody got a 6 and were sold the 5 super cheap, so I bought the 5 from them. Because before I had a Fenix 3, which I really loved, but it did not have wrist heart rate, which I really like.
I think the 5 is a good watch.
But you're not even wearing that Garmin. You're wearing an Apple Watch.
I'm not. I also have an Apple Watch, and it actually has an excellent sleep tracking thing. And they have an app called... it's called Auto Sleep, which tracks really well your sleep cycles and your HRV with the Apple Watch.
Okay, my knock on those is the battery, though.
Correct.
You have to charge it every day, so you're pretty much going to charge it at night when you're sleeping. Therefore, you're not getting that data.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. So I haven't gotten a whole lot of data because I'm usually charging at night. So I actually prefer to wear my Garmin over the my Apple Watch.
Yeah.
I prefer to wear the Garmin. I like the functionality of it. I like the look of it better, blah, blah, blah. But part of the issue is you have to charge it every single day. But I lost my charging cord for the Garmin for 5 days, and I finally found it in my wife's stuff.
Yes.
So I'd switch to wearing this for a bit. But so what I would do is when I'm winding down for the night, I would put the Apple Watch on the charger.
Okay.
Right.
So it's on the charger for an hour or two, and then that charges it enough that I could wear it at night and get that sleep data. But it's totally redundant because I have the Whoop strap.
So I have the Phoenix 6, and once I have it fully charged and I have the pulse oximeter turned on at nighttime, it's not on all day long. And even with all of that and everything else running, I still get 10 days out of my watch.
Yeah,
if I turn the pulse ox completely off, I think I get 14 days. And you can
Yeah.
actually put it into kind of like a battery survival mode where it'll last for like 20-something days, which is kind of nice.
I don't understand. Apple is brilliant. Why can't they get a
I don't
longer
know.
battery on
I
their
think it's a
Apple
size.
Watches?
I just don't think the size of the watch is smaller.
Considerably smaller than the
Garmin.
Garmin's. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's my gut feeling.
Yeah.
They need to figure that out.
Processor, they're probably it's a significantly stronger processor, better screens on that Apple. All that stuff
Yeah,
takes
that's
battery.
true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that the Phoenix 6 is an excellent watch. The Garmin 945 is a very similar watch, a little less price. I was going to mention that I'll send you a link somewhere, but on Amazon somewhere you can find these like Garmin chargers, and they're like this little station. It's like a little circle piece with a little charging port, and it's 2 for $9 or something like that.
Oh.
I put one next to my wife's bed, one next to mine. Just whenever it gets low, slap it on there. Some ultra runners are even wearing it. So like if you're going for like a 100-mile ride 100-mile run would take over. It might take 24 hours. So you
Right.
can actually wear these things out.
Really?
But you can put it on your wrist because it's circular. It fits underneath the watch. And the cord, you just run wherever into your pocket with like a little USB charger thing. And so they're like, yep, you can charge while you're... Because otherwise the cord wouldn't fit under there and you couldn't like charge and run at the same time.
I gotcha.
It's the same thing with biking,
But with
theoretically.
with that special charger, it
Yeah.
actually lays flat on the back side of the watch, so you could.
Yeah, it's circular, and it has a
gotcha.
little prong
It has
for the
little
charging
prongs that
piece. So
connect.
it's supposed to be slightly easier for you to just like slap it on there. But again, some of the ultra people are wearing it under their wrist,
Right.
so it's going to sit up like a whole extra inch. But you can charge and run at the
Yeah.
same time, or bike if you are wearing your watch for biking.
Interesting.
Yep. I mean, you've seen cyclists probably charge their computers while they ride.
Yes.
Right, with little cords,
Yes.
cords dangling down with their little battery pack chargers or whatever it is.
Well, Garmin now has a little battery pack that you can
they?
connect underneath the out
Correct.
front device. And it's only available on the 1030, but if you look at the the 530, it's got all the same similar little ports on the bottom, or like the little charging connections on the bottom.
Yes.
So one would think that a firmware update away would allow for the same thing to happen, but you can get much more battery life out of your Garmin now if you're running a 1030, and I think it's going to trickle down to
So
the
they're
others.
just kind of like little battery extender.
It's just like a little battery pack that clips onto the bottom of the out front mount, and that sends the charge up to the main unit.
There's like a Garmin mount
Yeah.
that has the connecting ports in metal or something like that.
Yeah.
So that you connect your computer to the top of the mount,
Yeah.
your battery pack to the bottom of the mount,
Yeah.
and it charges it.
I'm thinking like there's got to be guys that are doing
It-
backpacking or bike packing,
Bike packing
I don't know why I said
stuff,
backpacking.
or 24-hour
Yep.
type races or things like that, because those batteries last a long time.
They do, but I mean, we have people cycling. There's a lot of people that'll bike.
But if you're using navigation, you're
Yeah.
using more battery life.
Yep.
On those, and I haven't found a need for the
Extra battery.
Extra
yet.
battery.
Yeah,
yet.
but you don't do the kind of stuff that's like kind of that adventure stuff where it's like, let me see if I can go across the country.
Yeah, no, I like 3-hour stuff.
Yeah, you're good for 100, 120. Once you get into that crazy 200-mile stuff,
Yeah.
that's just. But I do think people are, as a trend, if we're talking about trends, that bike packing trend is a thing.
That is another one,
which
that
is
has been
cool,
growing.
right? Like I'm interested,
Yeah.
right? Because it looks awesome. You're going to cool places. You got everything you need.
Yeah,
I'm somewhat tempted to try something like that.
you have to have either a certain kind of bike or a certain
Yeah,
kind of bags.
totally. Yes.
for your bike,
Or both. And
frame bags,
Yep.
rear seat bags, handlebar bags.
it'll work on a TT bike though, right?
No.
We're gonna make it work. Make it fit.
I would be all into that, but if I were to go do that, I wouldn't think of it more of a bike adventure as more of just a bike being a vehicle for me to get to point A to point B to go like hike or camp or fishing or something like that.
Yeah.
But I would be up for something like that.
There are races too, the transcontinental race that goes from Canada to Mexico.
Yep.
Guys do it in like 8 days or something, and you pack all your own stuff.
Yeah.
And there's the unassisted cross country one, which is I think that's.
It's not Race Across America. That one's fully assisted.
Yeah, but they have the one that starts in Oregon at the coast at Astoria. Doesn't it start in Astoria?
I think
so. There's one that I don't know if they change the course each year, but it starts in Astoria and goes to Virginia or something like that, and that's self-supported. And that's pretty intense. I'm sure those guys have batteries for stuff.
Yeah, they have to.
They have to, because you've got lights, you've got all your gear. I'm sure they have to be checking in, right? Like you have to have like a satellite phone to be checking in on things.
Right,
so.
something like that. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty crazy. But yeah, that bike packing has definitely grown.
Is that something that you would be interested in?
It's too long for me at the moment.
You'd have to go slow and long. It's all the things
when you
hate.
think of it, do you think of it as a race though, or are you thinking of it just more of an adventure?
As an adventure, I'm definitely interested.
That's what I was thinking. Not
I'm
racing.
going to go like ride the White Rim Trail, and it's like 100-mile loop, and I could go super hard and do it in 7 hours, or I could take 3 days and do it.
That's where I'm in. Just to be able to like take a camera to like kind of take it, because you want to like stop and smell the roses on that kind of thing, because that's an adventure that you're probably not going to get to do too many times in your day.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to race that or not. I probably wouldn't sign up for that race.
Well, it's not a race at the moment, but
if it were to turn into a race,
but guys are doing it full out. So
Matt, would you
do an adventure ride?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a huge desire to race it, because I think it gets dangerous when you're basically, because the key to winning those races is to not sleep.
Right.
So I don't feel like that's something that I want to take on. But I love the idea of like, I'm going to bring my drone and my camera stuff, and I'm going to go out and record some cool videos of just being out like on an adventure. Like I love that idea. But I think you sacrifice pace. I think you sacrifice, you kind of let go of the, packing super light and all the sort of things that would make you competitive. And you kind of take more stuff and make a little bit more of an adventure out of it. That is appealing to me for sure.
It's definitely an adventure, not a race. If you're doing something like that, which it has definitely grown in popularity.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. What do you got, Mr. Lance?
Well, the other two on my list, I had bike packing and e-racing.
Did you really?
Just going back to the wearables real quick. I meant to ask you guys, what's your take on wearable sunglasses, smart sunglasses? I guess all sunglasses are wearable, but as a technology.
Ones that have like a heads-up display in them.
Built into the glass.
I mean, Garmin kind of has their little add-on piece that they've put on. I can't remember exactly what they call it, but you can clip it on your sunglasses, and it will basically project a little display of what you're supposed to be seeing on your Edge device.
Did Garmin buy Recon? Is that how that came about?
No clue.
Okay, I'll look into that, because I've got a goggle review coming up. That's the heads-up display goggle. So,
would you guys buy a pair of those sunglasses to get your data?
It seems hokey at the moment to me.
Just think about this though. If you're out there training and you're trying to hold certain watts, and having the watts just be up there, and you can see exactly what you've got, and you don't have to be staring down at your thing.
Useful.
That would be useful,
especially
it's
for what
safer
you like
too.
to do, Lance. Which is like, I want this workout, but I want to take it outside, and I want to hit these numbers.
Yeah. And
you're kind of specific about your numbers that you need to hit for some of those workouts. I
am looking at my computer every 10 seconds.
Yeah. Which is.
And if you've just got something in your peripheral vision that you can see while you're looking at the road, that's a lot safer too. You're not staring down at your computer. I mean, I think of that. Everybody's seen that YouTube video of the guy that's staring at his Garmin, and all of a sudden he just runs right into the back of a car, and the car had like a rear view camera on it, and the guy just went into the back of the car going probably like 10 or 15 miles an hour.
That's funny, but there's been quite a few cyclists that have died that way.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Actually, the guy, remember we talked about the guy that had the weird aero bars that he had passed away?
Yeah.
That's how he passed away. So
yeah, it was very unfortunate. So you've got that for a safety perspective, but it's just kind of nice to have the basic data that you really need right there. Like if you wanted to have like watts in your like bottom left periphery, and then on the right, maybe you can have heart rate, or maybe
Well,
stack them on top, and then you can start to like see some correlations there
Right.
and really
So
manage that.
the heads-up display piece works in one particular section of your vision. It's not like you have like 20, but maybe in the future.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
in the future, it could be like this here. You
Yeah.
know. You'd have to have like
it's like a
4
fighter
of them.
jet, you know what I mean, with the heads-up display that they have. So I think that would be kind of neat. And what was the other part I was going to say? I don't know. It's just that you don't become Chris Froome staring at your stem. So.
Right. Yeah, that's true. There's more. I mean,
look up.
yeah, if you're looking down, there's some problems with aerodynamics too, right? Because if your pointy arrow helmet goes straight up into the air when you look down at your watts, I mean, so technically there's some things about keeping your head in certain positions that would be faster.
Yeah.
So I think
it'd be an advantage for doing like time trialing too. I mean, just like having those numbers right there where you can always see them, where you're not like, because I do that in a time trial often. Like I'll be going and like your adrenaline's pumped up and like, all right, I need to hold 340 watts. That's where I want to be at. And then you look down, you're like 375. Like, dang it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
that happens to me all the time. 375.
Yeah, 375. Gosh dang it. 375 again.
Dang it. I think, for time trial specifically, some of the helmets have these huge visors.
Right.
So there's got to be something there where they could like figure out how to build that in, because you're not going to be able to like strap on a heads-up display onto that huge visor.
Right.
But I definitely think the technology makes sense. I think it'll come around. I don't know if it's going to be a 2020 thing or if it's going to be more like 2022, a couple more years. But yeah, Garmin's got their thing. Potentially they might have bought that Recon company because it was basically a startup company that did this. But yeah,
and they've had that technology for probably 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
So it's
I've talked to one cyclist that had it and loves it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I think a lot of it's like there's just not a lot of people doing it right now. There's not a lot of people buying it, and so it could be one of those things where it's like if this product gets into more hands and people rave about it, then like our radar, right? Like I think a lot of people look at like having a radar on the back of their bike and they're like, yeah, no. But we all have it, and once one of us has it, we're like, I can't live without this. And then and then Lance is like, I don't know if I trust Matt, but I'm going to try this. And then he's like, yeah,
this worked.
This is
good.
for real. Like I need this. So it could be a product like that. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. What do you got, Matt? You got any more?
Yep, I got more.
Bring it.
Okay. Well, we've talked about this on the podcast before, but having like real-time CDA, coefficient of drag area. Having that as one of your metrics.
That's right. Garmin is coming out with potentially something that will give you real-time drag numbers.
We think that Garmin is going to release a product called the Garmin Vector Air, which is going to give you, in conjunction with a power meter, would give you real-time CDA. And so it seems like something that Lance wouldn't be interested in, but it should be because for you, right? Like you want to do well in a road race.
Right.
And if you realize that you tuck your arm slightly differently, that you can basically save 10 watts, like that's
a big deal.
It's huge, right? Like, oh, my head position, if I put it here and my shoulders do this, that's 10 watts. Like I know if I'm in a breakaway or whatever it is in a race situation, just go to that position.
Yeah.
And you can probably in a race situation look at that CDA number. And so right now it's going to be a separate device. I can imagine in the future, if I rub my crystal ball, that they could build that into a bike computer.
Absolutely.
I mean, the problem is they need what's called like a Pinot tube that would stick off of it a little bit, so it would wouldn't be perfect, but I could definitely see how that would be built right into a bike computer without that much more work. So that could be neat.
That could be neat.
Probably Garmin would be the company, right? They got everything else there. So
My goodness, they have a lot.
I know. Well, if Wahoo is listening, CDA, real-time CDA.
Real-time CDA.
Yep. There's a trend that the steel bikes, metal bikes, alloy bikes, all that stuff are starting to come back around. What do you guys think about that?
You ever ridden a steel bike?
It's been a long time. And
I got one.
It felt like a lunk of steel.
You guys want to buy it? It's for sale.
It's for sale.
I would be interested in a titanium bike, though, I think. Yeah. I don't know about steel, but I'm not the connoisseur that's going to tell you like all the nuances between a steel and a titanium. I just know that titanium bikes just look awesome. They look beautiful. And I know that they're lighter. I know that they're pretty rigid, though.
Yeah.
The beauty of steel is it's not as rigid. It's forgiving. It's like riding carbon, but you can repair the steel bike.
Yeah,
where carbon is more difficult to
repair it and expensive as all get out.
And steel is so durable. Like it's just so nice having a bike that you like. So for me, it's like you have kids that are going to be in the garage, just doing stupid stuff. oh, here's a mallet. I'm going to ram this against something. Oh, that's Dad's bike. Like, I'm going to hit my skateboard against this thing and see what happens. Oh, that's Dad's bike. And when my steel bike is in the garage, I'm just not worried about it. Plus, it's cheap. Like, it's not an expensive bike. And so it's kind of like, if they went to town on this thing, it'll be fine. I mean, obviously the components, if they hit that, then you're in trouble. But still, like, it's 105 components, which is good. It's good stuff. But it's like, it's not the most expensive stuff. And it's so nice having a bike that you're not babying.
Yeah.
So I think there's real value there.
You have a titanium bike. Is that a Linsky or like a Lightspeed or something like that?
It's a Lightspeed.
Yeah.
It's titanium,
It's
correct?
titanium. It's called a Lightspeed Gisalo.
How do you like that bike?
I love it.
It's a nice bike.
It's a light bike. It is durable. I've had it since 2003.
Have you changed anything on it, like components or anything like that?
It has Dura-Ace components on it.
Is it Dura-Ace like 10 speed or 9 speed or?
I think it's 10 speed.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Dura-Ace 10 speed.
That's
So
good.
with
That's a good
those,
setup.
with those bikes too, what's kind of neat is like you could convert that over to disc brake if you wanted to.
Yes.
They can literally cut the bike up and they can add new things to it. They can weld on
weld it back
mounts
together.
and the things of that nature. Now, I think part of it is the width of the stay is going to be wide enough, and they theoretically could change that as well. I mean, you could just deal with the front tri row.
That's the only reason I don't ride that bike very much in the rain.
Yeah.
Is because it doesn't have disc brakes.
Rim brake, yeah.
And now
so.
I'm a disc brake snob. That's another trend.
Yeah, I don't know. I there's just if I could just have like one like little guilty pleasure like personal purchase for a bike just to have just because they look beautiful, I would love to have a titanium bike.
Like, they're hard to find because they're so expensive to make. So they're no manufacturers make them anymore. Carbon's so much cheaper to make.
Yeah.
Than titanium that they just
you got to go find a custom hand builder and you're going to pay out the nose. We've got a teammate right now who's building one of those Sage bikes.
Yes.
And I think
Are Sage titanium?
They are titanium, correct. And he was kind of running through the cost of this bike and was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. That is pretty stinking expensive for this bike that you're building. You could do so much, but he's going to build a really nice belt-driven single-speed bike that he can use for cross. So it's going to be a thing of beauty. But just the amount of money he's paying for it is pretty stinking expensive.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to reach out to Linsky and see if they want to support our team.
They're friendly to the team.
Yeah.
We're friendly with them. I actually shared tent space at the Cross Nationals.
Oh, with the Sage guys?
With the Sage guys.
No, I think Sage, they do offer some more, not mass-produced titanium bikes, but I think they white label the Linsky bikes, but they do have a local builder that does the full custom bikes, and they will lay up their own bikes. But I think I'm correct on that, but I don't know. It'd be kind of neat. Anyway, moving on. What else you got? Any more?
One other that I want to talk about is the trend of gravel bikes going to extreme. We know we talk about gravel a lot on here because
Buttery gravel.
Buttery sweet gravel. So, but there's a new bike that's come out where the beautiful thing about gravel bikes, which makes them gravel, is the slack angle of the head tube. The farther your front wheel is out ahead of you.
Yeah.
And there's a company called Evil that came out with the best bike name I have ever heard. Their new gravel bike is called the Evil Chamois Hagar. if you're a Van Halen fan and you know who Sammy Hagar is,
you just feel like you should just buy that bike.
I need to buy that bike just because
name.
It's the Evil Chamois Hagar. What is not wrong? There's nothing wrong with that name. The name is like fantastic. I want an Evil Chamois Hagar.
You need that.
Yeah, I need it. But the unique thing about it is it has a super slack angle, more than most gravel bikes, and people are basically calling it a hardtail mountain bike with drop bars.
Yeah.
Without shocks.
I feel like you could kind of just do anything with that bike.
On a gravel, you could. It would not do well like in a cross type race.
Right,
it's just way too slack.
You're not gonna. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not gonna race anything except for a cyclocross bike.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it might be nice to have something.
The geometry on it is quite interesting. Of the evil Shammy Hagar.
Wonder where that company is based, because it'd be nice to test some of this stuff. And that's a whole nother like episode, a whole nother podcast on like being able to test bikes before you buy them in our current situation in the world.
I don't know.
Cool. Any more, Matt?
Yeah, let me see. Wearable tech, gravel bikes, heads up display. Nope. I think we went over everything. All of us have the same stuff. Oh, I will say this. I mentioned this in a video on the YouTube channel, but basically custom bike parts, because carbon is something that they can 3D print. It is possible to do custom bike parts. I'm seeing that more of a trend in the pro Peloton and pro triathlete realm. Specifically, I talked about a company on this video that does custom time trial bars, like aero bars, basically like built to your arm specs. But I can definitely see that, also not necessarily in triathlon, but also pro Peloton stuff where if you can buy this, then it's legal. So they can print these parts that are custom to the pros.
Yeah.
So it's, I think, something that we're going to see. And I'd be very curious to see if some of the top riders get some pro parts built.
That was going to be my last one, was 3D printing in cycling.
3D printing in cycling.
That's a good segue.
Yeah.
I think that 3D printing is becoming more and more mainstream. You're starting to see a lot more stuff coming out, and the custom stuff that can come out of that for a pretty reasonable price is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
For instance, you did a video on some 3D printed goggles.
Correct.
And
yeah, that's true.
You quite like those, didn't you?
They're currently my favorite. I hate to be that guy, but like
Custom printed goggles.
Yeah. I'm testing a ton of goggles. I probably have a dozen pair of goggles that I'm testing, and I keep those because if a pair of goggles is bad and you still need to finish your swim, you got to switch out of it.
You switch them out. Yeah,
So
I gotcha.
So think about like a custom printed helmet or a custom printed saddle.
Yeah.
Or some bars to meet your exact width and geometry and drop angles that you need. You buy stuff that the manufacturer makes thinking that's going to be, we're going to be able to sell this to the most people. 3D printing could kind of change that game. Now, I still don't think that it's going to be cost effective for quite some time, but who knows?
The question that comes to mind immediately for me is the strength of carbon has to do with the orientation of the carbon fibers.
The direction that it's laid up in.
The direction they're laid up in.
Yeah.
So how can you do that with 3D printing? Can you direct?
Yeah, well, you have to. Anytime that you're laying out carbon fiber, it's got to be directional.
It's got to be directional.
The way it is weaved, basically.
I don't know enough about the process.
So, yeah. And so, I mean, if you think about those carbon fibers are directional, they're fibers. And so they're stronger in certain directions. So the way that you weave it, it makes it stronger in certain directions, basically. And so if you're doing like an aero, a lot of this stuff, it's one of the things like Jake mentioned, like helmets and things like that. Even like parts of saddles, you want that to be pretty strong. You don't want your saddle to break on you because it'll cut your ass up.
You don't want your bars to break on you.
You don't want your bars to break.
Fatal.
I've heard that that's bad.
Yep.
But I mean, a lot of times those custom printed bars are really strong because they really only need to be strong in certain directions, which makes them extremely stronger than or as strong as steel, they say. And so they're weak in certain ways. So you'd have to really do something weird with the bars or the saddle to have it break. But I think we're, I would be skeptical of things breaking as well. But depending on the product, maybe a helmet would be okay. Like you want that one to be solid, but like it'd be interesting to have like a custom helmet.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat technologies that are coming out with helmets just to, lessen the impact and deal with rotational forces, the MIPS and whatnot. So it'd be kind of neat to see those technologies get meshed up with 3D printing to see what they can come up with, because you don't have to like use a foam mold if you could like build something from the inside out versus just molding something.
Yeah,
I think that could potentially lead to some pretty cool technology.
And there's probably lots of other little things that we're not thinking about that could be benefits from 3D printing, right? Like what's not weight bearing that we carry with us on bikes and stuff, like little saddlebag things and things like that, like or the CO2 dispenser, like all these little things that aren't necessarily. It doesn't matter if they're like not the perfect build, right? Because whatever. It's not going to break and kill
true.
you
Yeah.
like a handlebar.
I can't apart.
Maybe a cool 3D printed water bottle that's got a storage compartment that goes into
Yeah.
a special cage or something like that. Yeah, you've got something
Totally.
over there, Matt.
Well-
Cool. All right, I don't have anything else.
That's it.
Done. Dunzo.
Finito.
One last thing. Lance.
I got nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
You're going to training
I'm
camp.
going to training camp.
You're at training camp at time of release.
As you are listening to this, we're at training camp. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Is there one thing that you're looking forward to the most at training camp?
I am just excited to ride with my teammates 7 days in a row.
It's going to be awesome.
Just to be able to ride with my teammates, have those conversations, make each other hurt a little bit, work on group dynamics, feel out who we're gonna work for at certain races in this next year. That's the stuff I'm looking forward to.
That's good times.
Yeah.
Are you going to travel after the training camp and go do some other crazy adventures? or
I don't think so.
gonna come home?
I'm
There's a lot
gonna
of racing.
come home.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe you need an easy ride when you get home.
Yes.
Call me.
Okay. Good.
Matt, one last thing.
Tons of videos coming out on the YouTube. I have a bazillion goggles that I'm supposed to review. That's all swimming stuff, which you guys might not be interested in if there's not a lot of swimmer listeners.
So you're doing another goggle review?
Oh my gosh, I have I have probably one coming out this week and maybe 3 coming out next week.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch.
That's a lot of goggles, man.
Which is nice. I mean, the companies are sending me stuff to
Sure.
review, and I want people to be able to cruise through a whole bunch of videos, look for the video that they want to kind of figure out if they want this goggle or whatever it is, and be able to make a decision on that. Or potentially kind of say oh, Matt just decided that this is a good one. I should check that out. But I'm definitely going to do a video talking about the Garmin Vector Air, the expectations for
Sure.
that. I'm excited because I'm taking a shot at doing a 3D render of what the product might look like.
Oh, wow.
So that might end up horrible, or it might be interesting. It's not going to be good,
Yeah.
but it'll be interesting at best.
Awesome.
So yeah, a whole bunch of stuff like that coming out on the YouTube.
So the goggle universe is sending you all kinds of goggles to review, and you probably got to hold on to those. And I know that you've been giving some away, which is kind of neat too.
My goal is any goggles that are sent to me are going to be sent out to listeners. So if for no other reason that you go watch my channel, watch it for free goggles. And one of them is that $200 pair heads-up display goggle, with you can see how fast you're swimming while you're swimming. So I'm going to give those away. But it'll probably be this spring because I do want to test them open water before I give them away.
Gotcha.
I think. Or maybe not. I don't know.
So
we'll see.
We need to put out to the universe that this industry needs to send you some things to review so that you can hold on to.
More cycling stuff.
More cycling stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Some bikes and some
Well, I'm
helmets
gonna
and
review
shoes.
the Wahoo Element Bolt, I think. And
Okay.
I'm going to talk about that Garmin Vector Air device, and then as soon as that comes out, I'll probably purchase it and review it for the channel as well. So I'll probably review as much bike stuff as possible, especially as the weather turns a little bit and we get outside more.
Good.
So.
You reviewed that one of those Theraguns as well.
I did, which was totally random. Basically, we had one on loan, and I was like, "Can I review this real quick?" And my wife's like, "I've got to give this back tomorrow." And I was like, "I can do that." It's like,
Challenge accepted.
challenge accepted.
I love it.
So I had to rush that one out, but I like that. I mean, it turned out well.
Do you like that? Do you think you need to get one now?
No.
No.
Well, so the problem with this is the price is $600 for that one, and to me that's very pricey. They do make some alternative versions of that, which would actually make maybe even for more interesting videos. Like, hey, here's some alternatives to this particular device. Instead of $600 at 100 or 120, like here's a device that gets you most of the way there.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think is probably I think Walmart sells one that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you're sacrificing some stuff like it's even louder than the Theragun. All of these things are really loud. Like you don't want to use them when the kids are going to sleep. It's they're nice.
Yeah.
They're nice. Do you have one, Jake? Or either of you guys?
No.
Lance,
No.
Jake? No.
Nope. Can't
No.
say I do.
No.
don't
You should try it and see what you think. Someone needs to bring one to training camp.
That'd
Come
be
on.
cool.
Come on, Dialed Cycling.
I am taking. I bought a pair of those Air Relax.
Did you?
Boots?
Yeah,
After
they're
I
nice.
tried yours, I bought a pair and I'm bringing those to camp too.
I think those are nice.
Yeah.
They're nice to have.
Yeah, Jordan brought a set of those to camp 2 years ago, and everybody was kind
using
of
'em.
taking their turn in there. And he had the little E-stem unit
The
too.
E-stem?
I
Yeah.
can't remember
Yep.
the name of it, but he brought both of those down, and everybody was kind of waiting in line to use
Yes.
both of them.
So I'll have my Air Relax boots in the
In the recovery
in
van?
the recovery. Well, no, they'll be in the house.
No, it'll be a recovery van. You go to the van.
You gotta go to the van.
You just syringe. You grab the syringes.
The van is my personal space.
A little,
my personal
little
syringes.
shot to the butt. A little shot to the butt and air relax.
Yeah, relax.
And then you're good to go the next day.
Gotcha. All right, my one last thing is, like Lance, looking forward to training camp and then some. It's just a great week to be able to hang out with friends, and all you do is focus on all things related to a bike. You know, you get up in the morning and you fuel yourself so you can go ride your bike. You go out and ride your bike and destroy yourself, and you come home and you recover so you can do it all again the next day. And it's nice to just be able to sit down. But I'm also looking forward to maybe taking some pictures and getting a little bit of video and kind of playing with that stuff a little bit too. So that's going to be good times. And I still can't believe that the house we're staying at is like so close, stone's throw away from where I grew up. So,
Lance, are you gonna like vary from your diet at all on training camp?
No
need to. Okay.
No need to.
Nice. I mean, those egg burritos that I was making last year.
I will
you don't have to worry about
miss
those.
The breakfast burritos.
They're not going to be there.
They won't be
They'll
there.
gone.
You won't be there, man. It makes me very sad.
Well, because of the burrito part, not because of the attitude.
I'm sad about your blue eyes not being there.
I was
Matt.
thinking it was my sassy attitude. Yep.
And then the other one last thing, I'll say this collectively, is our Bikes for Kids. We are, I think we're over $6,000, kind of creeping up to that $7,000 mark now. It's not all shown on GoFundMe because we've had a lot of checks written to us, which is a good thing. And we are coming into the home stretch of that. We want to try and raise as much money as we possibly can. I know that I always beat this drum, but if you can toss $5 or $10 at this, just skip your cup of coffee or, whatever, that would be fantastic if you could help us out. And that will be up on our Facebook page if you want to go click on that link and make a little kind donation for these kids. 100% of the proceeds go to buying bikes and helmets for them, and it's going to be a glorious, glorious thing.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, too.
Love it.
All right, we will catch up with you guys next week. Thank you again for listening. Have a good week. Bye for now.